Hey guys, it's Jeremy here at Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. What do you have for you today, guys? Is the next installment of my top 5 albums of each year. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you enjoy the content, please give the video a thumbs up to get more exposure. And join the family down below, hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're new, if you haven't checked out my other top 5 lists, definitely check those out in the playlist below. I've started at 1970, working my way through all the way till 2021. And for this video, we're up to 1977. Every year is becoming harder and harder to narrow it down to top 5 only. But I try my best and I come up with a list, and I have kind of a longer and longer list of honorable mentions, as I'm finding each year is becoming more and more difficult to narrow it down. Getting into the 80s is going to be really tough. A lot of my favorite albums came out in the early to mid 80s. So it's going to be really tough to narrow it down into the top 5. Well, let's jump right in, guys, without further ado. We're doing 1977 today, my top 5 rock and metal albums of that year. And at number 5, I have the mighty Motorhead debut. One of my favorite bands of all time. I had to put them in this list. This isn't one of my favorite Motorhead albums, but they're one of my favorite bands of all time, and this is where it all got started. Still a really solid album with the title track Motorhead, Lost Johnny, Vibrator, White Line Fever, and Train Keep It Rollin', I should say. Just some really solid songs on there still. The legendary Lemmy Kilmister, rest in peace, brother. He's sorely missed and one of my all-time heroes of metal. And I had to install that on my list because it's just an iconic band, and it's where they began. And at number 4, I have News of the World by Queen. Essentially my favorite non-metal band of all time. Definitely up there for sure. Love me some Freddie Mercury. If you're also new to the channel, I do have a designated Queen video every Friday entitled Freddie Friday, so definitely check those out as well. I think we're up to episode number 27. We've been doing it for a while. So definitely check out those videos in the the playlist. So yeah, I went with Queen's News of the World. Really solid album. It's got some of their most iconic songs. We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You. One of my favorite songs, Sheer Heart Attack. Their kind of take on a punk song, really good. Spread Your Wings is on that album as too. It's Late, Who Needs You, Get Down, Make Love, Sleeping on the Sidewalk. Just some really solid tracks on this album. Great artwork as well. Always love the artwork on this album. One of my favorites from Queen. But Queen never disappoints. Their 70s stuff is all great. It's all my favorite Queen material. And it's what I kind of go back to the most, including this album. And at number 3, I have the debut by Foreigner. Foreigner is definitely more of a radio rock, not really soft rock. They have some heaviness to them for this song, for this time period, I should say. But a solid album. I love this album. I'm not the hugest Foreigner fan in terms of their discography, but I really love the debut. It has some of their most iconic songs right off the top. Feels Like the First Time, Cold as Ice, and Long, Long Way From Home is on there. Woman, Oh Woman's on there. I Need You, At War with the World. It's just got so many great songs on here. And I love the singles. It's a fun music. It's very uplifting rock music. It's makes you feel good. It's got good rhythm, good melodic parts. It's just a fun album to listen to. And at number 2, I have Pink Floyd's Animals. Definitely an underrated Pink Floyd record from the 70s. Most people kind of automatically gravitate to Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall. Those 3 plus Animals are my 4 favorite Pink Floyd albums of all time. That 4 in a row are just iconic. And I love Animals. It's one of my favorite albums by them. Probably the proggiest of all the 3 that the 4 I mentioned. With songs like Pigs on the Wing, Part 1 and 2, bookcasing the album. The epic song Dogs, the 17-minute epic. And Sheep is on there too. Very few tracks, a little bit longer in length, but very, very good songs. And always love this album. It's the type of album you want to put your headset on and just kind of zone out and kind of just vibe out to. It's really, really good, really good. And before I get to my number one, just some quick honorable mentions I nodded down here. So I had some really close ones that didn't quite make the list, like Judas Priest, Sin After Sin was a big one. UFO had Lights Out that year. Kiss had Love Gun that year. Ted Nugent had Cat Scratch Fever. A huge big album was Meatloaf, Bad Outta Hell. I love that album. I didn't quite make my list, but it's a monster album. Really good, catchy songs. Thin Lizzy had Bad Reputation, another great record. Rush had Farewell to Kings. I love Rush, fucking Canada. Another solid album that year. Scorpions had Taken by Force. Really solid Scorpions album. I think it's the last one with Uzi John Roth on it, if I'm not mistaken. What else did we have? Riot had Rock City, another great record. And I think I mentioned the rest. Well, Blue Oyster Cult had Spectres that year as well, was another one that kind of stood out. And my number one, guys, is AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. One of my favorite AC/DC albums of all time. Still the Bon Scott era, rest in peace again, brother. He was a great frontman, and I love this album with such iconic songs like Dog Eat Dog, Let There Be Rock, the title track, and Whole Lotta Rosie, of course. And my cat's making an appearance here. He wants attention. But again, solid AC/DC record. Love it top to bottom. Very rockin', very heavy. Just love the way it sounds. The production's pretty good on it. Bon sounds great on it. Of course, Angus's guitar work is awesome. And I love almost everything AC/DC does, but I knew this was going to be a contender for number one on this year. I always love this album, and it's just solid top to bottom. So guys, down below, put your list of your top 5 from 1977, or any albums I might have forgotten or missed. Definitely list those down below as well. And I'll also put links up here at the end of the video, just of my other list I've already done, if you want to check them out. And like I said, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Until next episode, guys, keep it metal.